and gentlemen, let's go. We ain't got no time to waste. Let's go. You are now listening to Jason Anderson, and you are in the zone. Hey, let's go. Hey, let's go. Hey, let's go. Hey, let's go.
All right, a Thursday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I almost said Friday edition, and boy, I wish it was.
We're close.
Boy, you're right. You know what? You're right. We are 24 hours away from me saying a Friday edition of The Zone. We aren't 48 hours. We aren't 27 hours away. So we're 24 hours away. We are as close to Friday as we will ever be right now.
Well, Friday's Friday.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If we were in Australia, we'd be saying, good day. On Friday right here. Ray Gunn's going to be joining us later. I don't think that's going to happen today. And unfortunately, Ray Guns won't be joining the Royals anytime soon either, it looks like. And that is unfortunate. That was the worst news from yesterday. I don't care about the loss with the Yankees and losing 6-3 and making it more respectable there at the end, while a 5-0 game throughout most of that. Frustration the last two nights out at Kauffman Stadium, maybe the highlight being Jack Caglione walking up to the plate for the standing ovation in his home debut. The highlight being Reggie Jackson and George Brett hanging out with Patrick Mahomes on Tuesday. We'll talk about the game, certainly, and get into what it means moving forward. But obviously the big news yesterday was Cole Reagans going on the IL with what is, unfortunately, not a groin injury. It's not a shoulder fatigue injury. It's a left rotator cuff strain injury. And, boy, the things you don't want to hear are forearm, elbow, shoulder, rotator cuff. Hamstring, deal with it. Groin, you deal with it. Oblique, sucks, you deal with it. Those things return to play, return to production after that particular injury heals. You get back to 100%. The worry and concern for this injury is that you've got Cole Reagans, who has had a Tommy John surgery before. I know technically it's two, but it was a Tommy John surgery, and the second one was to repair the original one. So the original one apparently wasn't done all that well. So it's two Tommy Johns, but one original injury. So he's had that history. What would be really frustrating, is if the Royals brought him back too soon from a groin strain and he was compensating, maybe overcompensating with the groin. I don't know anything about him. Maybe he was compensating for the groin and puts more stress on the arm and the shoulder. Because he wants to be out there. You're trying to make the playoffs again. Maybe not as, just throwing this out as a hypothetical. I'm not accusing anything whatsoever. But maybe not as forthright. We've seen that with players before about how they feel because they want to get back out there and play. So, no, the groin's fine. I'll fight through it. I'll fight through it to be able to go and pitch. I don't know if that's the case. Could be. But we all can agree when he goes on the IL, has to miss starts, then goes on the IL again with the groin, they brought him back too soon. And now they bring him back again. He makes a start, and the shoulder is bothering him. And they put him on the IL now with the rotator cuff. I should have suspected something was up because on Monday, we talked with Joel Penfield about the pitching matchups with the Yankees being Noah Cameron, Chris Bubich, and Cole Reagans on Thursday. And then on Wednesday morning, as I'm putting the format together, or actually Tuesday afternoon putting the format together for the rest of the week, it's Cameron Tuesday, Bubic Wednesday, Seth Lugo on Thursday. Now, my thought was, okay, it's Reagan's turn through the order to skip. This is how they're going to do their six-man rotation. It's not going to be a true six-man rotation. Chris Bubic's turn last time to be skipped, and then he'll go Wednesday. This will be Reagan's turn since, coming back from the groin strain and maybe not looking great in that first outing against the Cardinals. You skip his turn through the rotation. Maybe next time is Waka because of the innings he pitched last year. The skip on the next one would be Lugo because you want to make sure that finger doesn't get inflamed if he comes back and is pitching a number of pitches and innings. Then after that, maybe it's Lorenzen that you skip him just, for S's and G's, and then you go through the rotation of then it's Bubic and Cameron, and I thought maybe that was the case on Tuesday afternoon. I didn't think much of it, and I guess we should have had a better idea at that point because now we know that Cole Reagans felt the injury and felt it on Monday. They hoped that it was normal fatigue, that he would be able to be pushed back and start this weekend. After Monday's off day, this is from Manny Rogers. Cole Reagan said, "It wasn't like I threw a singular pitch and felt something. It was nothing like that. After, just got pretty stiff. Did some treatments and stuff, never really got better. After Monday's off day, the soreness still lingering while playing catch Tuesday. Reagans went for scans and testing, which revealed the rotator cuff strain." So as we know, Monday, he was scheduled to start on Thursday. But after the off day, the soreness was still lingering. That's when they went in for testing. That's when it was revealed that there was a strain to the rotator cuff. Now, Matt Quattrero tried to put a positive spin on this, and I appreciate that, of him saying all things considered. I think we caught it early.
Yeah.
There's no real point in me saying anything until he sees the doctor and we get another test.
I like Reagan's next quote.
I'm going to be pissed for a little bit.
Yeah.
That was him. That's not me.
Yeah.
Well, I've been pissed for a little bit of this year with just the offense ineffectiveness and not taking advantage of the pitching. And we talked about coming into the season, the pitching health luck that they had last year. That we said, 95, 96 starts were made between Reagans, Lugo, and Waka last year? I mean, that's amazing. No wonder that team got to 86 wins and got to the postseason. Well, we're clearly not going to approach that number this year with the Royals. But Reagan said, quote, "I'm going to be pissed for a little bit. I think I deserve to be pissed for a little bit. Nobody wants to be hurt, but it's part of it. Take it day by day. I'm still going to cheer these guys on," which he was yesterday. You saw him in the dugout with Michael Garcia's double play from the view from right field, looking at the India turn. Reagan sitting on the top step and, raising his hand in the air when that happens. Cool. I'm still going to
Which hand? Better be the right hand. Don't raise that left rotator cuff.
That's a good point. It was his right hand.
Yeah.
He says, "I'm still going to be cheering these guys on. I still get to be around baseball every day. That's something you dream of as a kid. You try to take the positives out of it. I'm going to keep the same attitude. I'm going to work hard and try to get this thing right and come back and help this team make a playoff push." I guess if there's a positive here, that it wasn't just one pitch and you felt it.
Yeah.
Like we saw Corbin Burns, who's now out for the season with the Tommy John. He threw the pitch and immediately felt his elbow, and then turned around and went to, was it Pagano, and said, "It's my elbow."
He's like, "I'm done.
I'm done. It's my elbow." Now maybe he was feeling it as the game was going on, and then it was one pitch that was like, "All right, I'm not going to be able to work through this." Maybe he felt a pop or something like that, and it was like, well, there it is. Jackson Jobe for the Detroit Tigers. He's having Tommy John surgery as well, so they lose a particular player. So we've seen some players that happen, and it's a pitch, and you're like, oops, well, there it goes. The positive spin I'll try to put on it is if he said it wasn't one particular pitch. Like Vinny Pasquantino when he tore his labrum, it was that swing, and he knew it right away.
Yeah.
It was that swing when he messed up his thumb. The dude ran into his glove and he knew it right away.
Yeah.
All right? So you have those particular injuries, and then maybe you have some injuries that slowly accumulate as you go through a start. And you don't really feel it until it's over. And that's what he said. After the start is when he started getting sore. Maybe that's the positive to take away from this. But there isn't a real immediate positive because you're not going to have what is your highest ceiling pitcher when he's on and pitching the way that you know he's capable of, finishing third in the Cy Young last year, having 3 straight starts of double-digit strikeouts and no walks. You know he's capable of those things. A guy that can be a stopper. We talked about that all the time, about back-to-back losses minimum when Cole Reagans goes to the mound. The Royals typically win, and Cole Reagans typically shoves when he's out there. You don't have that guy moving forward. We don't have to worry about what are they going to do with 6 men in the rotation anymore for a while. Let's hope we're talking about worrying about only these 5 guys in the rotation moving forward.
I guess that's again, not a positive, but that's the consolation is you at least have 5 guys that you still trust in the rotation. I know people with Lorenzen has been a little hit and miss, but for a number 5, he's really, really good.
Yeah.
Noah Cameron had his worst start, but again, that's his worst start out of 6 starts, and it wasn't even just this horrendous. You're playing the Yankees, and Aaron Judge got you, and then Wells got you with that 3-run shot.
2 outs, 2 strikes, 3-run shot.
And
that's a rough one. That's a game changer.
It was a game changer, but at the end of the day, I still feel comfortable with Noah Cameron in the rotation. I feel comfortable with Lorenzen in the rotation. Yes, you're right. It takes a step back, but at least you still have 5 guys. The starting pitching staff did not all of a sudden go to, what the bleep are they going to do? Oh my gosh, they're going to collapse.
Who would it have been last year if you take Reagans out of the lineup? Would it then be throwing in Alec Marsh?
Marsh.
Okay, so you're taking Reagans out and you're putting in Noah Cameron.
Yes.
It's a better situation this year than it would have been last year. It's not ideal.
No.
It also takes a step back from us talking about, do you trade Lorenzen? Do you trade Cameron? You got 6 guys now.
Yeah.
Who do you trade for this bat?
Rich Hill, by the way, I thought had an interesting, he needs to make
Dick Mountain?
Yes.
You said Rich Hill. I only know him as Dick Mountain.
Dick Mountain.
Yes.
Correct. I thought he had an opt-out day.
It's like June 15th or something. It's like in 3 days.
As June 15th. So
nailed it.
We'll see, but if the Royals...
He doesn't have to opt out.
He does not have to opt out.
He would opt out if another team says, we've got a major league spot for you right now. Then he could opt out and say, I'm going to go there. But what's the point of opting out if he's just going to go to another team's AAA? You know what I mean? So if the Royals want to keep giving guys skipping through the rotation, they can try to play this game moving forward. But they were really trying to play the game because they had 6 guys. There's no reason to play that game with 5. If Rich Hill stays with you, Dick Mountain stays with you after his opt-out, it does give you at least somebody with major league experience if somebody else goes on the IL for a short stint like Lugo or Lorenzen with the hamstring last year or Waka with the comebacker off the foot or something, or Reagans with the groin early on, missing a couple of starts. It gives you an option to bring somebody up for a couple of starts, which we thought that was the case with just simply Noah Cameron. But he's been so good, there's no reason for us to talk about just a spot start here or there.
Yeah.
This guy has to remain in the rotation, even when you say that was his worst outing. That was a bad outing, air quotes, for Noah Cameron. And that bad outing still resulted in a rough pitch to Austin Wells with 2 strikes that got way too much of the plate. And he put that into right field in the bullpen. If Jack Caglione was just 8 or 9 inches taller, that's the problem. He's too short. What is he, 6'4", 6'5"?
If he was 7'3", he would have got that.
Yeah, right? If they would have drafted Wembanyama
that's the
instead of Jack Caglione, What are we talking about with Noah Cameron here, right? I mean, we're talking about something totally different.
Manute Bol catches that.
I mean, right? He absolutely does. Bol might catch it. You know, you never know. Major League 2, he would catch it. He'd climb up on the top of the fence, stand there, and catch the ball.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. Which, by the way, how long was the ball in the air for?
It was really high. It was a high. Plus, he got a great jump.
True.
Like, no wasted steps. Tracked the ball immediately. A lot. I mean, Denzel Clark's catch was nice, but not nearly as good as his marbles that he had with catching that ball. That was Noah Cameron's worst start. So he's remaining in the rotation, obviously, now with Cole Reagans. But that was the rough part about yesterday. Lost the game, that sucks. ABS needs to be here, yes. Those are all things that should happen. ABS should be here. The offense should be better. The Yankees shouldn't foul off 40 pitches every game. They might be the most annoying offense to go up against.
Yes. Correct.
You know what? I don't even want to qualify it with might.
They are.
They are the most annoying offense. It's one thing to go up against an offense that's just going to destroy you and hit doubles and home runs, and we've seen just a mash unit, not of injury, but mashing players, units that are there offensively that you're like, man, this team is just bludgeoning you. Remember when the White Sox came to town in the 2000s and it was a bloodbath? And they were scoring like 15 runs a game and home run here, home run there. Like, this is absurd trying to pitch to these guys. They've got a bunch of nice players and then maybe the greatest 3.5 year stretch for a right-handed hitter in the history of baseball. Not hyperbolic, by the way, because I decided last night to go and look up the numbers for Aaron Judge in his 487 game stretch since the beginning of 2022.
Yeah.
And compare that to right-handed hitters of all time. I'm not being hyperbolic when I say it's probably the greatest 487 game stretch of any right-handed hitter's 480 game. I mean, Barry Bonds surpasses it, but he's from the left side.
Yeah.
So of a right-handed hitter, we'll get into that here in a little bit.
Yeah,
but that's what we're watching with Aaron Judge. While a bunch of guys just are pests, just fouling off pitches, a 1-2 count, foul, ball 2, foul, ball 3, foul, miss strike by the umpire, walk.
Well, what makes it so difficult when you face them, you look at the averages of the Yankees and you go, oh, they're not a lot of singles. Then you look at the on-base percentage and you go, oh my gosh, they're all getting on base better than anyone else anyone on the Royals on base wise. I mean, you look at it, it's just hilarious. It's just DJ LeMahieu gets on base at a 372 clip. That's the exact same as Maikel Garcia, which is leading the Royals. That's their number 8 hitter. Yeah, this is kind of my point. Is you look down their on base percentages and then you get to slugging, and it's not even fair. I get the ballpark they play in. I understand. But when you're hitting triples like Bellinger, Volpe has 20 doubles, Austin Wells and Aaron Judge. It's just, they hit home runs anywhere. I know they get a little boost by New York, but when you look at their slugging numbers, they have everyone at least in the 400s in their starting lineup outside of LeMahieu, which is 397.
But you know what you also get a boost to, and Dylan, you would know this as a guy that's, what's got to be one of the more frustrating things as a pitcher is to throw a pitch and the guy just keeps fouling it off. Because the more pitches he sees, the more he knows your stuff.
And the more the on-deck hitter and the dugout and the pitching coach and the analytic team and everyone else gets to see.
Bubic's first at-bat in the 4th inning was, 11 pitches?
Yeah.
11 pitches first at-bat?
Especially in the first inning. If you're seeing a lot of pitches in the first inning, not only is that frustrating as you see your pitch count go up and you're cut off at 90 to 100 and you're already at 20 in inning 1, that is also frustrating.
So it's not surprising that the slugging percentage would be higher. Again, as you mentioned, you get a boost from being in New York. But if you're fouling off pitches and fouling off pitches and fouling off pitches, and you've got a pretty good eye of being able to take some pitches, yeah, you're going to get one that's your pitch that you connect and put down a line or put into a gap. So it's not a surprise there. And that's also not an accident that this group of players does that. It's what they scouted, drafted, and developed for, is to have these guys that just kill your starters and just foul off and foul off and foul off and foul off. Now, ABS might have helped the last couple of nights because we talked about the stolen base with Jazz Chisholm.
Yeah.
Was actually strike 3 to DJ LeMahieu. They didn't call it. LeMahieu walks. 5 runs score in that inning. Last night, Chris Bubich gives up 5 runs in an inning. The leadoff triple. But he strikes out Jazz. On even more of a strike than what was Taylor Clark's slider. I mean, that was an easy strike call against Jazz. It was strike 3. He ends up walking him. The next 2 players ground out. One scores the run from third. The other one is just a regular ground out. Would have been 3 outs. 4 more runs come across the plate. It's 1-0. 2-0 or 2-1 on Tuesday night. Instead it's 7-1. 1-0 last night. Instead it's 5-0.
I will also point out, correct, you were 100% right. But also, you don't have to give up 5 runs following that. You don't have to collapse.
Yeah, that was the next point I was going to make is that sucks. It happens. You don't get every call. You also don't have to give up 5 runs. You don't have to give up 4 more. You don't have to give up double, single, walk, double. Those things don't have to happen after that. But it also kills your pitch count when you should have been out of the inning, and then 4 more runs come across the board. And for this offense and this team, sort of kills any juice in the building because we're all well aware of what this team has to do to win games. And in the last 8 games, they have given up 5 or more runs 6 times. This team isn't winning those games.
No.
They're not winning those. They won one of them, 7-5. But in the first 60 games, they did that 17 total times. Think about that. The first 60 games they played, this pitching staff gave up 5 runs in only 17 of those games. They've given up 5 or more runs in 6 of the last 8. You can't win with this team if you're doing that. That was the worry, right?
Yes, we talked about that.
If the offense doesn't turn around, can you keep relying on the pitching staff to throw up 2s and 3s every night to try to get you a win? If the offense doesn't turn around, does the pitching staff go in a slump, and then you really start to struggle?
It was why we were so upset or worried when you would see them lose 2-1. They might win the series, 2-1, but the game you lost 2-1 or 2-0. And you might be like, well, they still took the series, and they still got some wins, but you needed to stack those wins because you knew what the pitching staff was doing. While we didn't expect a collapse, and I still don't think it's going to be a collapse, you knew it was fairly unsustainable to have everyone with a 1 or a 2 in front of your starter's ERA. That's not feasible. And that's where the frustration lies. I think with a lot of people on X, it seems like we're all in the same boat of, what is this team? I don't think they're good. I don't think they're bad. But I don't think there's a fire. There's no real identity to this team. There's no one that you look at and go, no, they're going to fight. Yeah, they hit a 2-run shot in the 9th when they're down 6-0. I'm sorry, that does not move the needle. That's a stat pad. That's Dak Prescott. That's the Dak Prescott of runs right there.
Joe Burrow when trailing by 17.
That's exactly what it is.
Was that unfair? Was that unnecessary? It's probably unnecessary. I don't know.
And maybe that's where, and maybe people don't care, but it just feels like there's no real identity of this team, which is interesting when you have a veteran in Salvador Perez, when you have a top 3 player in all of baseball in Bobby Witt Jr. It just feels maybe like there's lacking of fire, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm not in the clubhouse every single day. We're not there. We don't know what's going on
just every other day for you.
Behind the scenes since opening day.
You were 1 for 1 at one point.
I was 1 for 1. Okay, I was batting 100.
At one point, you were pacing for 162.
I was pacing well.
Or excuse me, 81. You're not going to be on the road.
Yeah, true. I was pacing well.
Yeah.
But now my batting average looks more like MJ Melendez. What's higher, my appearances or MJ Melendez's batting average in the majors this year?
No.
Yeah.
No is the answer to
but
that.
I guess that's, again, where my frustration lies. Is we talked about it yesterday a little bit, but there's just not that fire.
Yeah. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from Matt Quattrero last night. And what Matt Quattrero said that perfectly describes what Bobby Petrino said some 20 years ago. We'll get into that and explain it next. WSB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels heading up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Kent Swanson coming up at 11 o'clock. KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Get his thoughts on Chiefs football. We'll hang out with Kent doing that at 11 o'clock. We'll hear from the Chiefs today. Andy Reid, Gardner Minshew, Jaden Hicks, Kareem Hunt, Kingsley Suamataia. That's at 1 o'clock as they finish up today the final practice of anything that's voluntary with the Chiefs in the offseason in Phase 3 of the OTAs. Everything else involuntary, mandatory minicamp next week, and then training camp starting in July. At some point, we'll find out when that actually happens. Let's hear from Matt Quattrero. Last night, Vahe asked Q about the offense and said, can you pinpoint something that's going on with this offense? Any of the any particular issue? What is it specifically maybe that's holding this offense back?
I got to be honest. If there was one thing, we would have hit that button a long time ago. So no, and I think every guy has to understand what goes through their mind when they go to the plate and what their goal is, or what their goal is to get a hit, drive in the run. But what is their process goal, and are they sticking to it?
Do you feel, at least you like the way the process is playing out? I mean, in terms of how everybody's going about it.
I mean, the pregame work is good. I mean, there's at-bats that are quality. I mean, you look tonight, Grisham made 2 diving catches. If he doesn't catch either one of those balls, it's a totally different ball game. But that's baseball, right? I mean, you can't cry about it. Nobody feels sorry for you. You got to give yourself another opportunity to do it the next time.
So Matt Quattrero talking about the offense there, saying, look, if we knew what it was, I mean, we'd press that button a long time ago if we'd have known that. And to me, it brings up the Bobby Petrino quote, which I like to invoke from time to time. That Bobby Petrino's team was struggling at one point, and his dad, very famous football coach, high school football coach in Montana, calls up his father and says, I just don't really know, like, we can't figure out, like, we lost the game because, this happened. Then we lose the game because, the defense gives up that. And then we lost the game because, special teams had this happen. Then we lost the game because of, defense played well, but then the offense did that. And his dad was like, oh, I know what's wrong. He's like, what? He goes, you're not very good. That's what's wrong. Your team's not very good. And so when your team's not very good, certain things here or there is what will cost you the game.
Yes.
And, I know what's wrong, Q. Your offense isn't very good. That's the problem. Well, guys taking their at-bats, and we've had some good at-bats. Well, we've had some guys that have been hot. Well, we've had some guys that have hit home runs. We've had some innings where we've strung some things together. Our approach at the plate, we like that. Pre-game stuff, all of those things are really good. But, just one night we're stranding guys. Another night we're grounding into double plays. Another night we're hitting balls almost out of the park, but to the warning track. Another night just line drives are being caught and just unlucky. And another night you run into a stud pitcher. Or on another night you run into a pitcher that had its struggles, but boy, he found it that night and was just, throwing BBs up there and accurately placing and commanding every one of his pitches. It's just, one of those things that every single night, it's like, oh yeah, I know what the problem is. What? You suck. Your offense isn't any good. That's the problem. You could piece a player here or there, just as every NFL team that's terrible has a player that's probably really good. I mean, who had the number 1 pick in the draft this year? How do I already forget? Oh, the Titans. Jeffrey Simmons is a damn fine player. Well, yeah, but the defense for the Titans should be awesome. They have Jeffrey Simmons. Well, the Royals' offense should be amazing. They've got Bobby Witt. You've got Vinny's hot. And Michael Garcia's having a career year. Like, India's, like, you've got these. Why isn't this offense better? Because guys aren't consistent enough to be able to attack a pitcher in a certain way that will, 1, drive the pitcher out of the game, or 2, have 2 hits score a run, which would be a double and then a single, or a single and then a double if somebody's on first, or a triple and a single, or a single and a home run could drive in 2, instead of having 3 hits that would require 1 run. That's the problem. You don't have enough good players throughout your 1 through 9 to create a consistent offense, and those players that you have aren't necessarily the guys that you would think, at least at one point, with Vinny being the pitch efficient, being the guys that will drive a pitch count up. I love Jack. We'll see what he's going to be, but he's a free swinger. Bobby's a free swinger. Salvy's a free swinger. I mean, Isbell's had some damn fine at bats, so nothing wrong with Isbell. That guy was, 0-2, worked a walk last night?
That was nice.
I mean, how often have we seen that from Royals hitters? And if we have, oddly enough, it's been Kyle Isbell. He's been good this year. Kyle Isbell would fit in that Yankees lineup just fine, where you go, good God, man. You were up 0-2 on this dude. He kept fouling off pitches and earns a walk. That is so annoying.
Right, it's very similar to DJ LeMahieu. This is not a knock on Isbell at all. Isbell's batting 276, LeMahieu 279. Slugging 397, Isbell 397. On base, though, 288, LeMahieu 372.
Yeah, LeMahieu's been getting on base. Isbell, while it was nice working the walk last night, he isn't a guy that's a walk merchant.
That's not a knock on Isbell.
Yeah.
That's not what I was trying to do, but the point remains is...
But at times, Isbell will have that at bat.
Yeah.
It seems like, okay, wow, he was 0-2 and he worked that. There's not enough of that. We thought coming into this year there would be more of that because the Royals faced the Yankees in the divisional series. And what was the takeaway from the Royals players? We've got to be better at pitch selection because we watched in that series what the Yankees offense did and what we did. And when we go back and watch the film and watch the games, we see what we're swinging at 2-0 at a ball, and we see them on 2-0 not swinging at a ball. We see them fouling off a borderline pitch and then taking a ball. We see us taking a borderline pitch for a strike and then swinging at a ball. We've got to be better in our swing decisions and our pitch recognition. That's what we're going to work on in the offseason. And they haven't.
They've been worse?
Yeah, well, because can a leopard change its spots? Like, I do wonder this about baseball. When do you know for a fact, or when is a player's pitch recognition ability and eye at the plate sort of a finished product? I remember talking to Rusty Kuntz and him describing Alex Gordon transitioning from third to outfield. And he said immediately, the first time he was working out with Alex in the outfield, he knew that Alex was going to be a good outfielder because he saw instinctually his ability to read the ball off the bat almost immediately. And he said, you can't teach that. I can teach you how to take a certain step. I can teach you the technique on, how you're catching the ball, or the way your feet are if somebody's tagging up, or the way you, come in on a ball to come up throwing.
Sure.
Like, there are certain techniques I could teach you turning your hips and running. But if it takes you even a half a second longer than somebody else to get a read and to have an idea of where the ball's going to land, like Kyle Isbell just has that. And he said, I saw it with Alex Gordon immediately. And I thought, this guy's athletic enough, and he's got that, he's going to be good. Didn't know he was going to be that good, but you knew he had the potential of being really good. I think there's a reason why Jack Caglianone's playing so deep in the outfield, is because they probably don't trust his ability to turn the hips and run backwards to read it, as well as coming in on the baseball to be able to read it right now.
Not Andrew Jones out there.
And I don't care if that's the case. That's fine. He's, a defensive end playing right field. He's a first baseman playing right field. I mean, the other night they had 3 balls fall into short right field because they had a first baseman in right field, they had a catcher at first base, and they had a DH at second.
Who's on first?
I don't know who's on second. All right? I have no idea. I have no idea sometimes who's playing second. Sometimes it's India, but we know why Massey maybe wasn't playing second as much with the ankle injury. I tweeted out jokingly, I didn't know bats had ankles, but apparently they do. You got to look closely. It's right above the knob, that ankle. But, you can you change and turn into all of a sudden a player that is a free swinger to, well, now he's just the eye is perfected. I think you have it or you don't. I think you draft for somebody that has strike zone judgment, or you draft for other things. You didn't draft Jack Caglianone because he was going to be able to work a pitcher.
We knew that.
You drafted him because he's going to hit one 500 feet. That's why you drafted him. So I don't expect Jack Caglianone to be that. But if you are not driving at 500 feet, if you don't have 25 home runs, if you're going to be batting 270, 280 at max, let's just say, I don't know, Michael Massey. If you're going to be that guy, I can't have you being a free swinger along with being a guy that doesn't offer pop. You can't be you've got to be a guy that has to be a pest like the Yankees. I can't have Kyle Isbell not being a pest. He feels like he is. He's not getting on base as much, but he feels like he's somewhat of a pest.
No
like
issue with Isbell, by the way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm just throwing in guys from last year that are returning this year and still on the team. Like Drew Waters wasn't there last year talking about what we're going to do in the offseason after watching the Yankees, after losing to the Yankees. MJ's not on the team anymore.
Sure.
Massey's on the IL. It's Isbell, it's Witt, it's Salvi, it's Vinny. And that's it, right? Michael. And Michael, hell, I mean, he's done
listened.
that. He's done that. He sat there. Michael is, if you want to talk about Zumwalt, Michael's the guy that Zumwalt will be like, hey, cool, yeah, that's the guy I worked with all off season. These other guys worked at their own different labs. Okay, I worked with Michael all off season.
That's true.
Maybe those guys should stay and work with me all off season, and I can do some things to help them.
I know a lot of people on Twitter, it's Team Fire Zumwalt season, but that's one of those ones where it's like, well, the one guy that stayed with him in the offseason has been the guy who improved.
And changed his swing and worked on the techniques that Zumwalt wanted him to work on.
So it's almost like, well, do you blame him or do you blame all the other guys? I know it's a 1 versus 6 right now, but...
Because every team has a hitting coach. Every team has like a batting, instructor, strategist, and every player has their own hitting coach back home.
Yes.
Or where they train in the offseason.
And I'm telling you back home, those guys want to keep their jobs. They're saying, no, don't listen to those guys. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Or it might be, you know what, that guy's right. Here's how we'll hone that.
Sure.
But you never know. Like Vinny's plan was not to add bat speed. His plan was to add strength. The unintended consequence or result, I think earlier consequence, now just simply result because we're seeing him
good.
The unintended result was that his bat speed sped up 2-3 miles an hour. He's had to adjust to that. Now that he has, oh boy, I'm glad he put on the weight and the muscle.
Yeah.
Because he is, killing the baseball now. But it took a while to adjust to that. That wasn't the plan to go down and, hey, let's increase bat speed by 2 miles an hour.
So 2 things. It's one, clearly either they draft for guys who they don't care about plate vision or discipline. That could be part 1. But 2, even a guy like Jonathan India who's been around, we talk about like the Chiefs offensive line, how a lot of times you're like, they haven't really improved since they got here. They've kind of been the same guy, which they may be good, but we didn't see any improvement in this area. India last year hit 248, but got on base at a 357 clip. This year, India's batting 252. Get on base at a 337 clip. He gets here, and all of a sudden, he's turned into more or less what the Royals.
It's been better though as of late.
It has been better of late. So I'm not trying to like pick on India because India actually has been. Yeah. His bat has been turning it around. I'm just.
And he roped one last night, hit the home run the night before.
No, he's really starting to turn it around. But my kind of point there was it's the on base percentage, less than the average or what he's doing lately. It's the Royals do not get on base for a team that hits so many singles.
Yeah.
Like, this is not 14-15 where it's keep the line moving. They're not all that talented. They're not a lot of 270s and 280s. It's 245s, 250s. I mean, and Drew Waters, who my affinity for Drew Waters, hitting 269. But when you're only getting on base at a 307 clip and slugging 359, that's not a complete ball player. That's a lot of singles in there. I'm not trying to pick on Drew Waters. It's not like it's one guy we're all yelling at. It's just they're just all not good enough.
Where are the trying to find India's pitches per plate appearance this year? So I know last year he was 15th in the league at 4.16, and this year, it could be better. Who knows? It's 4.20. This year, actually. So it's actually a little bit better pitches per plate appearance this year than it was last year, which is nice, which is good to know.
Yeah.
That maybe it's not resulting in the walks or the on-base percentage like before, but his approach is still the same as it was. Maybe the batted ball profile isn't the same with more fly balls and pulling the ball more, but the approach in terms of the patience seems to be something that is, better. And that's one of the things that we talked about of why you trade for a Jonathan India. Is you want a guy that can work the count a little bit more. that he's one of the best in baseball at doing that. And Jonathan India this year is 20th in baseball with 4.16 at
Nice.
pitches per plate appearance, or 4.20, sorry. Last year was 4.16. He was 15th. This year, 20th at 4.20. Oddly enough, there's only one Yankee that ranks ahead of him, and that's Trent Grisham at 4.27. He would be second on the Yankees in pitches per plate appearance.
That's pretty
Which
crazy.
against the Royals seems astronomically insane. Now, behind Jonathan India is then Anthony Volpe at 4.1, Austin Wells at 4.1, Cody Bellinger at 4.07. Like, you got all of these guys that are in the top 50 for the Yankees. That's 5 players in their lineup that are top 50 of pitches per plate appearance this year. That's not an accident. It's not. But as long as you have Salvi, and Bobby can continue doing what he's doing. All right, I'm not trying to change Bobby. That's, an MVP caliber player. And if it wasn't for Aaron Judge having the greatest stretch of a right-handed hitter in the history of the game in these last 3 years, Bobby would have won an MVP. But it's not the case. I'm fine with that. I don't need to change Jack Caglione. It's okay having a guy in your lineup that can hit 450, and the pitchers know that I've got to be careful, because if I'm around the strike zone and I hang one, he's not going to miss it. Oh, by the way, another 110 last night. He's now at 6. It's 12-9 to 6 for Jack Caglione. And this one was a hit. Thank goodness. The last 2 times he's hit 110, they've been hits. So his 110 mile an hour exit velocity is starting to find grass as opposed to finding gloves. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling more zone next. Royals at 3.7. There are 6 Yankees players before you get to number 2 in the Royals lineup. 6 Yankees players in pitches per plate appearance rank higher than the Royals' second highest pitches per plate appearance. Is that coincidence? Which is part of my frustration of a couple of years ago when you passed up on a guy who was a catcher from Virginia and Kyle Teal for a high school kid. And what was Kyle Teal? Best catching bat, disciplined approach, takes a lot of walks, can hit 15 to 20 home runs, athletic catcher, will stay behind the dish, but he's going to walk, and on-base percentage is going to be there for a catcher. Gardner Minshew, Jaden Hicks, Kareem Hunt, and Kingsley Suamataia. So you got Big Red, backup, breakout, third down, and fingers crossed left guard. We'll see. Update at the U.S. Open. How about Gary Woodland right now, tied for second through 12? I can't hear you, Sterling. Sorry. He turned your mic. You know what, Dylan?
Fourth.
See, you should have kept his mic off. I said Gary Woodland tied for second. So what happened?
I knew what he was doing.
Oh, he bogeyed 12? Because he was through
13.
Yeah.
Okay.
I bogeyed 13, looks like.
No. If he bogeyed 13, he'd be at even now.
Both. Bogeyed 12 and 13.
Oh, so he's now at even?
No, he had 3 birdies in the front.
Yeah, that's right. He was 3 under. So, okay, he was 3 under. He bogeyed 12 to go to 2 under, which tied him at second. Then he just bogeyed 13. That's too bad. That's unfortunate. Because he hasn't even made it to the second toughest hole. So far, the toughest hole is hole 9. And the second toughest hole is hole 15 that already has 7 double bogeys on it today. It is a par 4, 507 yards. 7 doubles so far today.
Shockingly, the
Par 4, 507.
Also, our guest may or may not have him to win in this tournament as well.
Woodland?
So, yeah, so as I was asking him that and as he was saying that, we just maybe let him know that one of his guys is not faring very well.
Boy, let's bring in Kent Swanson. Kent, I hope you weren't DVRing this and we just spoiled it for you. Like, oh, I was waiting to get home to watch it, you jerks. God.
TiVo.
Oh, man, I was at church. I was going to watch it, and then somebody's like, hey, man, you see the Chiefs scored a touchdown on their first drive? Son of a... Gee, I'm sorry. You know what? Now I got to go into confession. The things I want to do to you, now I got to go into confession. Kent, did we ruin it for you that we told you that Gary Woodland has just bogeyed the last 2 holes?
Yeah, that really ruined some things for me, guys. Spoilers on live events is one of the things I have biggest issues with. You should be keeping your mouth shut. I will say, so I have some beef here. This isn't golf related, but for some reason, the app that I watch the Royals on, I got it on Amazon. When I watch it, it somehow, anytime you go live, it delays it 5 minutes.
What?
So I thought the Royals were in good shape watching the other night, and then Aaron Judge hits that home run, and I'm on the Twitter timeline, and it's showing highlights of Aaron Judge going yard and hitting it over the Hall of Fame. And I was like, I'm 5 minutes behind. I don't even realize it. I'm getting very frustrated with that app. I don't know. It's been a thing for me. I've been having Royals games spoiled for me the last week or so.
I'll be honest. I've had so much more enjoyment with the Amazon Prime streaming platform of the FanDuel / what used to be Bally's than I had last year with Bally's. I hated last year's Bally's app because it would I would pause it. And then I would press play, and it would skip ahead to live. And I'm like, no, I paused it for a reason. I pressed play. I didn't, want to go. Amazon's been really good, and it skips ahead 10 seconds, which I appreciate. I hate the 15-second skip ahead because the pitch clock is 15 seconds. So the 10-second skip ahead after the pitch goes in, boom, skip 10 seconds, you're typically ready for the next pitch. Or a foul ball, click it twice, and you're ready for the next pitch. So that's interesting to hear that Amazon has been working like that for you.
It's like just the last week. I'm holding out hope, and it is much, much better than what we were dealing with last.
So what you're saying is when you click watch live, do you then have to fast forward after that, after you watch live, or it's just staying at 5 minutes behind?
I jump in, and it's like, hey, here's the watch live, and I jump in, and
I see.
It's 5 minutes back, and I was really disappointed yesterday because I skipped forward, and it's first and third in the second inning for Chris Bubich, and then everything kind of fell off the rails after that. So
the amount of times that I have had things spoiled for me on Twitter during Chiefs games, because people don't watch Chiefs games with me, which is fine, except for Little Man, because in the middle of the game or a drive, I'll pause and rewind, and then pause and rewind. If there's something specific that I want to see, like a block or something in real time, and take a note of it, and then I catch up at the commercial break. And the amount of times I forget, and because the commercial break is typically when I'll go and see what some reactions are on Twitter, sort of scroll through there to commercial break. And the amount of times the commercial break was like, Chris Jones got there. I'm like, gosh darn it. I'm 5 minutes behind. I got to fast forward, and I already know what's going to happen with Chris Jones. Plus, I missed my catching up at the break, so now I'm not really going to be able to catch up till the next break. I do that all the time, and it's why people don't really want to watch games with me, is because they're like, man, just fast forward. Why are you rewinding? We've seen this play already. Yeah, but I'm taking a note. I'm writing things down. Do you watch the game the same way, Kent, or are you better and smarter and more smart when it comes to football, that you can see all 11 players in unison but individually at the same time? You're like Beethoven. You can just play.
Oof, yeah, no, I totally. That's a skill set I have. I will say I'm an antenna guy. I'm a big antenna guy during Chiefs games, and like luckily, you get access to all of them locally. I love watching on an antenna because it's 45 seconds faster than like my YouTube TV.
Second to radio.
And then Matt McMullen doesn't spoil all of these, great plays for me. Because he's
there
on it, man.
Yeah, and he's there. What I've done though is I've now, because I used to have, like, I would put the Sunday ticket on my iPad, and I'd put the Chiefs game on the regular one. When they would play noon games, I'd put the Chiefs game on the main TV, and then a couple of other games on the smaller TVs. And now it's just like, you know what? Screw that. I'm putting the Chiefs game on my iPad, but I'm rewinding 30 seconds, and so I'll watch the play happen on the TV, and then I can look over at my iPad and see the play again and watch it. So I've got it 30. It's helped me with being able to stay on track with the main screen TV. That's what I've been doing lately, and just, because it's easier when the Chiefs are playing all these nationally televised games. I'm not having to watch multiple games at the same time. So they do that for us.
So that move, man. I mean, even like red zone, like you can kind of get the same effect from red zone, because anytime there's a good play for the Chiefs, it winds up on red zone. So you kind of get that delay. You can go right back to it and watch it again. So like, there's some, that's a vet move there.
Dude, when I lived in Louisville and I'd be watching the Chiefs on Red Zone, you know how sometimes the way it used to be on DirecTV, I'm not really sure if YouTube does it or not, but the way it used to be on DirecTV is they would pop up with highlights of different games across the league. You might be watching a game and a highlight will pop up at the bottom that you can click, of like, AJ Brown 50-yard touchdown. You can click it. But here's what would happen all the time. I'd be watching the Chiefs on Red Zone, and in the middle of the Chiefs drive, it would pop up and go, Mahomes to Tyreek Hill, 45-yard touchdown. And then 2 plays later, it'd be Mahomes to Tyreek Hill, 45-yard touchdown. I'm like, so if you're that far ahead that you already got the highlight, why is my game stream this far behind? It was I couldn't turn that off. I couldn't figure out how to turn it. I don't want the pop-up because it was actually popping up in the game I'm watching for a highlight and a play that's getting ready to happen 2 plays from now. But anyway, first world problems, you know what I mean? So
do you remember when DirecTV used to let you put your fantasy lineup in something on Sunday Ticket?
Oh, yeah.
And they would just update you with all of your fantasy players, like
I loved it.
Cut to the highlights and all that kind of stuff.
Love
that
it.
was, you probably found it quicker on the app, but it was fun. It was a fun concept. They just need to speed it up a little bit.
It's a good idea. Visiting with Kent Swanson, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. All right, let's talk about this Chiefs team. We're getting people to weigh in on this as it is right now. A couple of questions as it relates to Josh Simmons, but we weighed in on it earlier this week, had different guests weigh in on it, so I'll ask you as well. As we see the development last week of Josh Simmons and Rashee Rice there as the team portion of practice, the question we've been asking people is, Kent, what's a bigger development for 2025? Josh Simmons working out with the team drills, or Rashee Rice looking like Rashee Rice? For this year specifically, for 2025, what's a bigger development to you through the offseason of Rashee looks really healthy, or, man, Josh Simmons is ahead of schedule? Which one's bigger?
Josh Simmons being ahead of schedule for me,
okay.
100%.
You and Dylan. You and Dylan.
I'm excited about Rashee Rice. I think, it's great to see that he's, looking good and all that stuff. And I think, he's primed for a big year. But getting left tackle solved would be just such a massive, massive development. If Josh Simmons is able to step in week 1 and be that starting caliber left tackle for this football team, seeing the talent and the ability he has, and especially like we've been rewatching games from 2024 on the Casey Laboratory podcast this off season, and just being reminded of how much the left tackle position is needed on this team, and the ceiling that it can operate if they can just get that position right. I know Rashee Rice is an incredible talent, but there's tons of talent surrounding Mahomes if he just has the time and the confidence to be able to operate from the pocket and not have plays completely derailed by that left tackle spot. So Josh Simmons being ahead of schedule and being able to contribute as a left tackle would be just such an incredible win. And I mean, he's a better football player than Jalen Moore. The tape's better than Jalen Moore already, even though it was just college. That would be such a huge development for this team.
So that was Dylan's take. That was Dylan's choice. I went with Rashee Rice, and here's the thought process as to why I went with Rashee Rice. Is I'm not sure what Josh Simmons will look like as a pro. I've got certainly high hopes for him. You know, last year was Panic at the Disco at left tackle, but I've got high hopes for Josh Simmons this year as to what he could be if he's healthy. But I don't know what he or Jalen Moore look like at the left tackle spot. I know what Rashee Rice can do for this offense, and if he's fully healthy, just what the Chiefs missed last year, if you can put that back in, because even with the left tackle issues, he was still number 1 in the NFL in receptions, number 2 in yards the first 3 weeks, and it felt like they could survive and the offense could move the ball a little bit easier, even with the issues at left tackle. And so if he's fully back to being Rashee Rice, and there isn't you got to wait for the year after the year of the knee injury. If he's just Rashee Rice this year, mainly because I think Jalen Moore could probably do an adequate job. I just think Rashee Rice has shown to be so vital for this offense that we saw the first 3 weeks of the season, and what I think would be the rest of the year was the passing of the torch of the offense, moving from Travis Kelce being the straw that stirs the drink, not named Patrick Mahomes, to then Rashee Rice. That's my argument as to why I went Rashee.
So my question for you would be, how many points do you think Rashee Rice is worth? Because I look at, this team scored 27, 26, and 22 points in those 3 games that Rashee Rice, led the Chiefs in receiving and had, they were winning games and they were winning against a couple tough teams, or at least we thought were tough at the time. I just wonder if, that doesn't seem too far out of the range of the points scored for the rest of the season. So that would be my only pushback is like, yeah, Rice was awesome, but did it really just shift the target share of players, and were the fundamental issues that we still saw offensively still there? That would be my only my only argument against Rashee, if that makes sense, because like he was having an incredible season, and I think he was primed for it. I just kind of wonder if those offensive line issues weren't going to permeate at some point. I mean, they're starting left tackle. I mean, Kingsley got benched against the Bengals in the middle of that great stretch from Rashee Rice too.
Yep. And then Rashee Rice had in that game after Kingsley got benched had that 4th down conversion that was like 25 yards that the rest of the league forgets happened because the Chiefs were called for illegal hands to the face by Wanya, which set up a 4th and 16. But they remember that the refs bail out the Chiefs on 4th and 16 with the pass interference with Rashee Rice, forgetting why it was 4th and 16 to begin with, because the Chiefs converted 4th and 6 that was further down the field into Bengal territory than what ended up being where the Chiefs were after the pass interference. But regardless, that doesn't matter. That does not fit a narrative with that. Kent Swanson is our guest. Kent, you wrote about lottery tickets and how often you play the lottery and how much you spend weekly on the lottery, but you also then connected it to, Chiefs players. So is there, one or two maybe players that stand out to you that could be the biggest impact for this team if the Chiefs were to get that those Powerball numbers right?
Yeah, I mean, the concept of lottery tickets is essentially those low value, flyers that the team takes, both with free agents and with undrafted free agents out there. So, the Chiefs have given themselves some interesting swings this season. I think there's two that kind of stick out to me right now that I'm paying attention to, especially with some news yesterday. But the first one is, I think Elijah Mitchell, the running back from San Francisco, like the Chiefs wanted to try to take a lottery ticket flyer on J.K. Dobbins last year, and they were smart to do it because, wow, J.K. Dobbins had a fantastic year last season. And so they went out and got a guy that was oft injured, had some explosive tendencies in Elijah Mitchell. And if they can get him kind of back to, what he was, I think he can be a significant factor in the run game in 2025. And then from an undrafted free agent perspective, I think there's a guy that's worth paying attention to from last year. He was an undrafted free agent in 2024. He stuck around on the roster on the practice squad last season, and I think he could be primed to be a contributor back up at the nose tackle position. That's Fabian Levette, former Florida State D tackle, 35-inch arms, and a dense player in the middle of that defense. Mike Pinnell's talked a little bit about him over the off season, and with Siaki Ika getting released.
He was
yesterday.
waived yesterday. Yeah. That was the guy that you and I talked about. I said, I'm kind of intrigued by Siaki Ika because he's got the draft pedigree, and is a guy that I think this team needs in terms of profile. And you talked about Fabian Levette, and clearly the Chiefs prefer one over the other because they've already moved on from Ika.
Yeah, and Ika, super talented. He's got talent. I think there's been some weight struggles, like maintaining his weight over the course of his career, and I think that's why he's, lost some opportunities over the last few years of his career. Is just, can he maintain a weight that is even functional? He's kind of got that Danny Shelton issue that he dealt with, right, over his career as well. So Ika had the talent. It's just it wasn't able to put it all together for whatever reasons, and the Chiefs have moved on from him, but I think that gives Levette an opportunity. Him or Marlon Tuipulotu is probably making this roster, the 53-man roster, and most likely game day active, if you ask me.
No, I like that. It's the thing that I think they need, and if they feel good about Levette or pronounce his name again.
Marlon Tuipulotu.
Tuipulotu, I know, yeah. If they can get, if you get Marlon or Fabian, or both, maybe a Marlon Levette, Fabian Tuipulotu. So, Sterling, you wanted to weigh in on name pronunciation?
No, not. But
it's pronounced Okoye.
How does this help the
it's
GM?
Devin.
The GM debate, because Marlon Tuipulotu was an Eagle by Howie Roseman. Now he's a Chief. So either this means that Marlon Tuipulotu gets credited to Brett Veach for bringing him in, or is Howie all of a sudden, if Tuipulotu turns into a stud, it's like, Howie found him first.
Well, let's be honest. It's whatever benefits Howie.
Of course, that's my point. Yeah.
Is a coattails for Brett Veach again, finding Howie just didn't have room for him because he already drafted so many other better players, and Brett Veach can't find good players, so he has to take the leftovers and the scraps from Howie.
There we go. We go.
Right, Kent? That's how it's viewed.
There's another tight end that the Chiefs just signed today that was a former Eagle as well. So I'm sure, if he makes the roster, Howie's going to get credit for that one too. Yeah. Even though, Howie's GM's pockets just seem to be flush with guaranteed money. So there's definitely no factors there that are worth. Kevin Fulch is the tight end, by the way.
Yeah, Fulch.
So there's no factors baking into that. Look, I'm not here to knock Howie, but Howie does this thing where he just, takes, the Twitter's favorite player that was injured and every single time, and it seems to be working out well for him.
It has been, for
sure. And then Jeff Lurie gives him blank checks to just push guaranteed money into 2050. So, whatever, but that's another story for another day.
He's good. I don't doubt he's good. I just continue to get annoyed at the sort of reputation around Brett Veach, and that Veach is Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and look at the things he's not able to do. And my God, Howie Roseman is playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers or Connect Four or Chutes and Ladders or probably Candyland. Let's be honest, Howie Roseman, chess. He is a chess master. He runs the Queen's Gambit always. That's the only one I can come up with because it was
is the move.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I didn't know. I've seen the TV show, and that's why I know it's the Queen's Gambit.
That's the only reason I know that too.
Exactly. Kent Swanson, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Kent, before we let you go, PFF listed their next stars at every position, and not for each individual team, but the entire league, and went position by position. Here's who they view as maybe the next star at that position. And they came up with safety being Jaden Hicks. And I cannot disagree at all with that. Do you have a breakout candidate? Maybe it's Jaden Hicks, but do you have a breakout candidate for this Chiefs team this year that can go from good player to, yeah, this is a guy that the Chiefs are relying heavily upon come January and hopefully February?
I think Hicks might be the one. Like if I'm looking at this and if I'm looking at this team's roster, I think he's the most logical one. And I mean, the Chiefs have given Jaden Hicks an incredible amount of runway here to be that guy. And you saw them starting to utilize him a lot more as the season went on, and you saw him involved in the playoff games when they mattered the most. Jaden Hicks was getting a lot of run. They did not directly replace Justin Reed, and they moved on from him. And Hicks is unequivocally the benefactor of that. And you see, you saw some really positive things for him. We rewatched the AFC Championship. I thought he had some good moments in that game too. So I think Hicks is the most likely logical candidate to break out when you're looking at this Chiefs team. And yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if by the end of the year we're looking back going, I can't believe how good Jaden Hicks is, and I can't believe that the Chiefs were able to get him for a fourth-round pick. You want to talk about chestnut checkers? They didn't necessarily need him in 2024, but they took him because the value was too good, and now they might have a potential stud at the safety position. Eat your heart out, Howie.
Yeah, I mean, for the first 12 weeks of the season, Jaden Hicks at free safety played 7, 9, 12, 15, 22, 24, 25, 35 snaps the first 13 weeks of the season. 35 snaps at free safety. Starting in week 13, 17, 29, 23, 34, 16, and then the playoffs, 22, 17, 21. So, I mean, he played in the championship game and the Super Bowl more snaps in those 2 weeks than he did the first 13 weeks of the season at free safety. So,
yes. And he played well.
Yeah.
He was getting trusted. He was
Right.
very much trusted. And like that was such a cool thing to see, is watching him just kind of, develop nicely there over the course of that season. And I mean, there's reasons for optimism, and I think the Chiefs saw that, and I think that's why they didn't feel the need to spend as much money at the safety spot.
Kent Swanson, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Best of luck with Gary Woodland the rest of the way at the U.S. Open. I don't know if there's any updates. I don't want to spoil it for you. So he still
Tied
sits
for third.
Okay, so he's still sitting at 1 under there. Sorry for spoiling it yet again for you. I know you've got it on DVR, getting ready to start. We'll see what happens with that. Kent, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it, brother. We'll catch up. Oh, by the way, congrats on Craig Stout returning. That was a pretty awesome scene last night. With you cried. Those were real tears, Kent. Those were real tears when Craig Stout jumps on and says, "Guys, I'm coming back. I'm going to be on this every Wednesday now on the Laboratory Podcast." And there were tears that came out of Kent Swanson's eyes last night. That was a cool moment. Was that Sterling?
Joy or sadness?
It's a great question.
Oh, unbridled joy, man. I can't even do a bit with that. Me, Craig, and Maddie, we've been doing this for so long, and I mean, we're friends, and like it's just fun to do stuff with your friends. Like that's kind of a motto with KC Sports Network, and he surprised us. Like he completely surprised me and Maddie. We didn't know this was coming, and he sprung it on us, and they all knew I was gonna cry. I mean, I love
that was a bet. That was a bet between Craig and Tucker. I love that Craig and Tucker bet on if you would cry or not.
Yeah. They knew.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome, man. It shows you. Shows what kind of person you are. Kent Swanson, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Kent, you're the man. Appreciate it, brother. We'll talk in a couple of weeks, man.
Yep, catch you later.
Absolutely. There's Kent Swanson, KC Laboratory Podcast, KC Sports Network. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling along. We'll get into if we're watching the greatest right-handed hitting stretch in the history of Major League Baseball. Also, Missouri has now said to the Chiefs and the Royals that this is a viable option for you. We got a couple clips we can play from that and what it means now moving forward for a renovated Arrowhead or a brand new dome in Kansas or a downtown Kaufman or a Clay County Kaufman or the worst possible idea of an Hesperia campus Kaufman. We'll talk a little bit about that as we continue to roll along as well. More zone coming up on the other side. We'll talk, let's play the lottery. Let's play along with Kent and play the lottery, and we'll discuss what numbers we may land on to see if we can win big. Coming up next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, heading up until 2 o'clock. Coming up an hour from now, we will hear from Andy Reid, Gardner Minshew, Jaden Hicks, Kareem Hunt, Kingsley Suamataia. U.S. Open going on. First round today. Spawn is leading by 2 strokes. He is on his 17th. Excuse me, he's through 17th. So he's on his final hole, but he started in the back 9, so he's on number 9, which I believe is playing as the toughest hole today, through 3 hours. And he just put a birdie putt within 2 feet of the cup, so that's a gimme. Just pick it up, right? Isn't that how they do it?
Yeah, especially the U.S. Open.
Especially at Oakmont. And just pick it up. That's good.
That's good.
That's good, guy. So it looks like he will, if he puts this one in, he finishes his round 4 under, 2 strokes ahead so far. Spawn. You know the first name of that guy? Warren. That's right.
He's shockingly also thrown 148 pitches.
It is weird, and he started for the 4th day in a row.
Yeah.
He's gonna have 4 straight starts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's JJ Spawn, because JJ, he's been playing Dynamite so far today. All right, cool. Scotty Scheffler has not teed off yet. He is the heavy favorite. He is plus 280. The next closest is DeChambeau at plus 900.
Who's plus 3 over through 16.
3 over so far. It is an unforgiving course, is Oakmont. And it is surprising that, I would say early on, somebody is sitting at 4 under. Now, you're going to have to play 4 rounds like that at Oakmont, to where you play that way. That is an unforgiving course when it comes to how fast the greens are, how rough the rough is.
Today was supposed to be the quote-unquote easy day, too.
Okay, yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
Thursday round. They've had some rain. You've seen some guys go more or less towards the pin, I think more so than you'll be able to do on Saturdays and Sundays especially.
Yeah, Sunday especially, yeah.
I think this is, if you like this, if you like grinding it out, you are going to love this U.S. Open. Spawn of 4 under, the round of your life, that's a royal. Rory's 1 over through 15. Ludwig Oberg is 1 over through 17.
Yep.
You're looking at some big names already
and
struggling.
And with the U.S. Open, you might see some names that it's like, well, here's the story of this guy that you didn't know about or hadn't heard about or not necessarily very aware of. Or as Dylan was talking about in the break last hour, the dentist who, where did he go? Bradley?
Butler
played
Matthew Vogt.
I knew it was one of those killer B schools.
Yeah.
Matthew Vogt.
Yes. He's plus 13.
Oh, that's all. Dang it.
Yeah, he's almost dead last.
But playing that course is like pulling teeth. Am I right?
There you-
God, I gotta stop those
break.
things.
We'll go to break.
I gotta stop that.
No, we'll go to break.
My goodness, I hate it. Huh?
Where's the Warren Spawn?
It's gotta be
was
like
bad.
it's gotta be like a laugh somewhere in there, like Drake with the ha ha. I'll take Kawhi. That works too. Thank you, Kawhi. I appreciate you liking the joke. So, good man, Kawhi Leonard. Do you have a lottery ticket for the Chiefs that maybe you would like to see cash? There's really only one that comes to mind for me.
I would like Brashard Smith to cash.
Ooh, I was thinking the same group, but different player.
Well, I like Smith because there's team control.
I was going Carson Tender.
Elijah Mitchell would be, I think, the one.
That's the one that I went with in Elijah. But I get it with Brashard Smith because you've got 4 years team control. That makes sense.
And I think the upside with the pass catching ability of Smith is vast.
Yeah, Mitchell isn't necessarily the pass catcher that you would think of with a guy with his speed. He's not somebody that has a lot of receptions.
So yeah, I think for that I would go. Brashard Smith is my lottery ticket. I have a lot of faith in guys like Christian Fulton and Noah Williams, so I don't think that's really one.
No.
I think Jalen Moore is going to be solid. I guess for me it'd be Brashard Smith.
Yeah, I think lottery tickets are more of like the
Brennan Stools.
Yeah, right.
The Cam Jones.
The lower free agent signings that are like, let's see what this guy does, and it's like, oh wow, that turned out to be pretty good.
It'd be Pacheco. It would have been the 7th rounder. That would have been a lottery ticket that
right?
Cashed.
Yeah, mine is Mitchell because he's had experience as a running back, so we know what he looks like when he's healthy and playing well, and what he could offer to this offense. Certainly, Brashard Smith is a good one, simply because you've got the team control for 4 years with that guy. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back and we'll talk about maybe the greatest stretch as a right-handed hitter that we've ever seen. We're witnessing it right now. And that is the man who is out there at the K the last couple of nights hitting home runs. One, a towering 470-foot shot, and the other, a smoked laser that went over the right field wall and I think was about 11 feet in the air maybe the entire way. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. Ben Griffin, is now 2 under. I don't know if they're related or not. Could be adopted. Who knows? But yeah, there's DeChambeau, a lot of other golfers yet to tee off. Xander Schauffele's 4 over through 16 so far. He's got a birdie on 17 that he's lining up in these unforgiving greens that are there. Unforgiving entire course, even if today's supposed to be the nicer one, and he sinks the birdie putt, so he jumps all the way up to the top 25 by being 3 over so far. So there you go. There's the U.S. Open at Oakmont going on. We've seen Aaron Judge going on, and what we're watching is historic. The beginning of 2022 season, Aaron Judge has played 487 games now. In that time, over those 487 games, he's hitting .317, he's getting on base at .440, and he's slugging .689 over 487 games.
What's that OPS? Just for
1.129.
Okay.
OPS over 487 games. He has 182 home runs over 487 games. By the way, 182 over the course of 487 is 60 per year. For 3 seasons, he has averaged 60 home runs for 3 seasons, going back to the beginning of 2022. 3 seasons worth of games. So he missed some of 2023 with the injury, and then last year, and then 2022, and then what he's played so far this year is roughly 3 full seasons. It's 487 games, so right around 3 full seasons of baseball, and he's averaging 60 home runs over what would be the course of 162. In that time, 97 doubles, OPSing at 1.129, and going back and looking at just like those numbers over a stretch of 487, the only player that surpasses his slash line of 317, 440, and 689 over the course of 487 is Jimmy Fox.
Yeah, okay.
Batted .354, got on base at .457, and slugged .711 for a 1.168. He had 163 home runs in that time. Judge sitting at 182. But I should also point out Jimmy Fox had 5 more doubles, and he had 20 more triples.
Which 3 years of Fox? Did you use 32, 33, 34?
I'd have to go back and look up the because it's 487 games, so it could be over a 4-year stretch.
So it's probably 32, 33, and 34 were the years, but you also could have thrown in 35 for Fox. You could have also gone to another 3-year stretch.
I just let Baseball Reference do the 487.
Of
so
38,
they pulled the
39.
best 487 game stretches.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a lot of, like, it could be like 15 straight in a row of Jimmy Fox because it's 487 with 3 games before that surpassed the 487, not just like a 3-year stretch. So his best 487 game stretch resulted in a 354, a 457, and a 711, which is more than Aaron Judge, and he's the only player that has all 3 that are higher. Batting average, on base, and slugging with a 1.16 over a stretch of 487 games as a right-handed hitter.
Yeah. So
because Bonds is astronomically different.
The names I were looking at were Jimmy Fox.
Yep.
Rogers Hornsby had a couple. He had like a 6-year stretch that was just dumb, where you almost cumulative averaged 400. He probably did actually.
And Rogers Hornsby.
And then Tupac Williams, of course.
Rogers Hornsby is the only one, because Aaron Judge in this stretch has a 208 weighted runs created.
Yeah.
Means he's 108% better than an
he counts
major
for
league.
2 players.
Yes, 108% better. Rogers Hornsby, over 487 games, is the only one to have at least a 208 weighted runs created.
So I went between Hornsby and Jimmy Fox, but we're going back to the 20s and 30s.
Well, I've always felt like Pujols, in my mind, I kept talking about Pujols is the greatest right-handed hitter, and Pujols to me is the greatest right-handed hitter. If you take individually Albert Pujols' best 487 game stretches of batting average, and then his best 487 game stretch of on-base percentage, and his best 487 of slugging, he's at 342 to Aaron Judge's 317. He's at 432 on base to Aaron Judge's 440, and he's at 660 slugging to Aaron Judge's 689. And 147 home runs to Aaron Judge's 182. His 1.091 to Aaron Judge's 1.129. And by the way, that's taking each individual.
Yeah.
So Aaron Judge is doing this in this 487. That's taking the best batting average at 487 from Pujols, and then another one that's his just best on-base percentage, and then another one that's his best slugging, and then another one that's just his best OPS, and only batting average comes up better than Aaron Judge to this point.
Miguel Cabrera had a 4-year stretch as well, 2010, 11, 12, 13, and 14. 5-year, 4-year, whatever you want to use. That would be relatively close when he hit 340, basically. He had the Triple Crown, but it's the slugging numbers that are just insane. I mean, because this is the best 3-year stretch in the last 80 years.
Yeah. Well, the home run numbers, only 2 players hit more home runs than his 182 in a 487-game stretch.
Hack Greenberg?
Nope. Or Hank. Any guesses?
Sorry, Hank Greenberg.
Any guess? Hack Wilson and Hank Greenberg. Any guesses, real quick? All right, I'll let you think about that. We'll tell you on the other side of the break. Even the interns, don't look it up. They can guess as well. 2 players more than 182.